How's it going, everybody? Alexander here, High Winds EDC. We have, after a long time, another High Winds EDC full review that I am super stoked about. I've had enough time with this blade that I think that I can give a comprehensive 3,000 foot view and a close-up view of what my expectations were, how well the knife performed, and just, yeah, all that good jazz. So, for one, please forgive me. I am getting over some sort of sore throat. I don't know what it was, but I've been nursing it the last couple of days. The knife that we're going to be reviewing today is none other than the awesome Peña Knives Fixie. I got to go grab something real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I had to go grab the box, but it is none other than the Peña fixed blade, the X series fixed blade with the sheepsfoot style blade, the aftermarket ironwood handles by SIDH Customs. SIDH. I'll probably link his Facebook profile down in the description because I've been getting a lot of comments asking about it. They are aftermarket scales. They did not come with the knife. I bought this whole setup on the secondary, so do with that information what you will. I'll try to give you guys as much information as possible. So let's talk about it. We're going to do our typical blade to butt review of the knife. As you can see, it has a satin ground M390 blade. It is a Peña X series. So if you don't know what a Peña X series is, it is Enrique Peña's collaboration with Riot or other overseas OEMs. I'm sorry, manufacturers is the word that I was looking for. This is out of, I think I said M390 sheepsfoot style blades, satin. And what you get when you buy this knife off of the Peña website, which I think these have only been dropped on Peña. No, I'm wrong. They've been featured in companies like Blade HQ, and that's the only one I can really think of that I've seen have them on the website. But that's what you get. You get a skeletonized blade that looks very similar to a GMF1 fixed blade, but with enough differences. And we're gonna look at this. This sheepsfoot style blade comes to a very, very nice point that's really, really good for utility cuts, and it's really good for small food prep. I say small food prep because if you're gonna try to get into a tomato or an apple and you're going through the apple, you can't cut through the whole core of the apple. But if you're going through like let's say you already have a quarter of an apple, or a half of an apple rather, you can easily make those utility cuts on the half of an apple rather than going through the whole core. It works really well with fruit like avocados. Avocados are a fruit. Strawberries, berries of that nature, but I wouldn't use it to dice an onion. I definitely wouldn't. It's got its place. It's really good for opening small packages. It's really good for packages actually, because you really get that point down in there and you can just drag it along. Great utility cuts. Depending on how you pinch it, you can pinch it back here and pull, or you can just really get right up on it and do some good cuts right here. I was at a birthday party for one of my son's friends this weekend. They had a piñata where they had the tine hooked up to a hook, and they were kind of doing the whole piñata thing like this. Well, the hook that they had sawed through the small tine, so we had to hurry up and improvise something. I was able to be the hero of that situation because the tine was long enough. I put it through a cradle loop, and I was able to cut away what was excess that was left on the actual piñata, and we were still able to use the piñata for the birthday party. And so this is really good for the reason why I say that is because it's really good for things like small tine. You may be able to get through 3/8 inch rope with this thing, but it could be a nuisance. You could fall out of the cut. You could get caught up in the choil. That has happened to me already when I was cutting, trying to do a pull cut through some water hose. If you don't get it past this choil right here, if you don't get it past this choil area, you're going to have a hard time because it is a crowned choil, which I think is really cool. We'll get more into that. But as far as the utility of the blade, it's really nice for what you're getting. Cutting through packages and cardboard is really nice. It's really easy. The M390 really lends itself to that kind of cutting task. It's not something that I would necessarily want to, especially with that fine point at the end, not something that I would necessarily want to stab into something and pry and do any form of prying with, because first of all, the blade material is not made for that. Second of all, the blade shape is not made for that kind of stuff. So there we go. That's what I wanted to say about that. Dang it, I was gonna try something. I was gonna see if this fit into this little sheath, but it's way too loose. So there goes that. I will say I have not run this knife without the scales since I've gotten it. I've kept the scales on because they just give you a nice, I don't want to say full grip, because that's not what you're going to get with this knife. This is a very small knife, but it does kind of give you something that won't twist the knife in your hand in this dimension. Kind of gives you something that really gives you a firm purchase. I did have to add a lanyard to get a full 4-finger grip, and that works really well for me. I did the little snake style lanyard. I really like it, and it works very well for this. I considered throwing a bead on there, but I don't have very many beads, and so I just went ahead and ran it like this, because it's also easy to clip off without having to undo a bead or whatever it is. The ironwood scales are made by SIDH Customs on Facebook. He may have a website, I'm not too sure, I'll link it below. But there's a beautiful ironwood. I get so many compliments online about the handle material. Is really good. I'm currently waiting for him to get, because he's based out of Mexico, and so whatever work he does on a blade, he has to have the blade in hand, especially making scales. That just kind of goes for a lot of people doing custom fixed blade scales. They have to have the knife in hand, so I don't want to send it to Mexico, especially during Fixed Blade February. And he gets enough of these in regularly to where if, let's say, somebody sent him in one in Mexico, he would be able to make another set for me based off of that other platform. And so that's kind of what I'm waiting on. His rates are very, very fair for what he makes very handsome scales for these fixed blades, and I think his rates are very fair. I've been able to have a conversation with him. I think I don't know exactly what these ones cost, but I have another set that I got quoted for me, in a manner of speaking, with the scales and a Kydex sheath, which is probably where this one came from. I can't confirm or deny, but probably where this one came from. I think the total of that would be about 65 to 75 United States dollars. So that's very fair. You're coming out with nice scales, a good sheath, for sub $100 on a $120 to $130 knife. So you're still kind of in that $200 price range for a great utility knife. I forgot to mention that the knife on this, the price on this knife when it retailed was about $125 to probably $135. I can't quite remember. You can look it up. So it's a very fair price for a very small chunk of steel. But I was able to get it off of the secondary in a trade. I traded a custom Peña down into this one, and then also a Bradford Guardian, plus a little bit of extra spending money. And this is what I really wanted. This is one of my dream blades, believe it or not. I like how small it is. My friend Damien, God rest him, he's a great dude. He just has his opinions. He didn't think I would like it, but I actually really do, because it fits my medium-sized hands. I don't have very large hands. I have to wear either medium or small gloves, depending on the maker, depending on the material. So yeah, this looks really good, feels really good. I appreciate the lanyard hole. We're gonna take a look at the crowning on this knife, because it is absolutely amazing. This entire knife is crowned all the way down to the lanyard hole, past the lanyard hole, coming back down to where the like the finger choils are, all the way up to right here. And it is a very beautiful transition from crown to edge, and that's what I love about Mr. Enrique Peña and his attention to detail. It makes the knife that much more comfortable when you're using it, whenever you're going to make a cut with it, whenever you're choking up on it. There are no hot spots on this knife at all, because of the crowning that was done so well on this knife. It's very beautiful. Let's get into some size comparisons. We'll compare it up against a very popular Enrique Peña model. This is also an X series. This is the Peña Apache. This is a Knife Center exclusive. We're gonna kind of try to go pivot to pivot more or less. This is all, the Peña is a sheep's foot as well, with another hollow grind. This knife is hollow ground, by the way. I have to mention that, just for those of you who are watching at home. Sorry. And so you can see that the Apache is much larger. In blade length, we're looking at about maybe about 1/8 of an inch more cutting edge on the Apache than we are on the Fixie. Put that down, put this away. Let's put it up next to another common knife. This is the Spyderco Manix. No, this is the Native 5, not a Manix. This is a Spyderco Native 5 in Magna Cut. You can see like even the thicknesses are not like too dissimilar. Let's put that away. I'm gonna compare it next to a Demco 80-20.5 sheep's foot, shark's foot rather. It's a little bit like with the new scales, yeah. With the aftermarket scales, I will say I trust this knife with aftermarket scales. I can't say that I would 100% trust it in its skeletonized version. We'll kind of get into what you get in the packaging. You do get a Peña X series box, which this is pretty standard throughout all of the X series. I don't think I've seen one without this style box. I think some of them have magnet top opening now, but this one didn't. And what you'll get instead of the Kydex sheath and the scales is you'll have this very thin pocket leather sheath, which would ride in your right hand pocket with I would say that the clip retention isn't 100%. Let me just try it real quick. I mean, you might be able to get away with it after it's been form fitted a bit to fit the blade. But so yeah, that's what you'll get, and you'll get the knife in here. You'll get a microfiber cloth as well, which is really cool. And yeah, that's the packaging. Let's do some more size comparisons to another tiny fixed blade that you may or may not have seen or held. And this is actually one of my favorite knives. This is the MKM Micro. I really like this knife. This is an ultra tiny knife, but it has got great utility. And it's also in a sheep's foot style blade. So as you can see, the Peña Fixie is quite larger, but this works for me. I really like this because this is such a good knife, but you see how much lanyard I have to have in order to make it a 4-finger grip. I can get 2 fingers on there comfortably, just the blade stock and the handle, and then I have to have an extra large lanyard to get my pinky and my ring finger over this way. And it's good. This is a nice little blade. I get a lot of compliments on this one whenever I take it out into the field because it's nice and small. It's non-threatening, which can be said to this one as well. It's nice and small and non-threatening. Whenever I was at that birthday party, one of the guys, he needed to borrow it, and it was pretty cool. He was like, "Oh man, I don't know how to fold it," and I said, "You don't," and I threw it right back in my pocket, and and I got one of those. I got one of those looks, and so that's a compliment where I'm from. That means that, hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. And so I will say that the Ulti clip is really nice. I haven't had any problems with the Ulti clip itself, like messing up my pocket or anything, because it's got such good retention. Like the retention is just right when it clicks into this sheath. That's it. And then to pull it out, it takes very minimal effort. Like, it's really nice. So whenever I go to take it out really fast or whatever, I'm not pulling up so hard on the Kydex that it's ripping my jean pocket or anything like that. It's also really good in the waistband. I carried it once or twice in the waistband. I will say that the handle does pop up a little bit high. I'll show you what I mean. So look, the handle does come up. I mean, you're coming out up past your 5th pocket to probably the bottom of your belt. So that is pretty high, I will say. I don't know if you'll have that same problem with the regular stock sheath and the skeletonized blade, but it's easy to get out. one thing that I did find out, one thing that I have learned about these ulti clips, check this out. Whenever you're going to just take it off entirely and put it up for the night or whatever, you obviously undo the ulti clip, put your finger behind whatever it is that push forward, and lift, and you won't get caught up on that little J hook right there, that little yeah, that little hook that's designed to like catch a seam or catch a string or something like that on pants or pockets. So if you just push the blade out and forward, it pulls the material close to the kydex. That way you could just lift it up, and that's been really good for me, for my Bradford as well, my Bradford Guardian. I did carry it a few times in this Paradrop leather Triari. This has been really cool to carry it in because I can carry it like that. I can grab a pry bar, stick it in the front slip, pen, and flashlight. Set that right there. And then I can just throw this in the pocket. And now I don't have to have an ulti clip. I just have this whole thing set up exactly how I need it, exactly how I can go and come, going in and out throughout the day, if I'm just going to be carrying this all day. And it saves me some room in my pocket. Like I was saying, that blade handle rides up really high in the kydex sheath. It can be annoying on my belt a little bit, not super bad. The weight of it is very light, and I really like that about it. And so yeah, there goes that. Let's do, I guess, a couple more size comparisons just for reference of the blade, and then I'll get out of your hair, guys. We'll compare it next to here's a closed Victorinox with daily custom scales. So this is a Victorinox Tinker model. Let's get that blade deployed real quick. Gotta be careful. So that's what you're looking at. Like, so this Tinker is a little bit thicker than regular Tinkers, but it's still the same length, blade length and everything like that. So you can get an idea what that size would be. Let's go ahead and compare it next to a Oz Machine Company Roosevelt. There you go. It looks really nice compared to the Roosevelt. The Roosevelt, of course, being one of the greatest ergonomic EDC slicing knives in existence right now. Let's go ahead and compare it next to a Peña Knives Mula. This is also an X series, also in a Peña sheep's foot style blade. Yeah, there we go. And the thickness. So yeah, really good blade. I've been enjoying it a lot, and I will say it's going to stick around for a little while. That's how much it's won me over, just being as awesome as it is. Yeah, guys, that's it for today. I really appreciate you guys watching my reviews. You guys are awesome. You guys continue to support me. You guys continue to just bring smiles to my faces with your comments, your questions, your enthusiasm for some of the stuff that I do post. So I just want to give a big thank you to you guys. I'll try to do a review of the Bradford Guardian 3 here in the future. And I have another video that I'm going to do. It's going to be on the topic of EDC pry bars. Do you need one? Do you not need one? So yeah, we got some cool video ideas coming up. Today and tomorrow are my last 2 days of leave before I go back to work full-time after the birth of my baby girl. So if the content slows down on YouTube, it'll pick up on Instagram, because I usually like to do photos on Instagram. But yeah, guys, like I said, thank you for watching and viewing. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I think I covered everything. I don't want to backtrack really, but yeah, the Peña Knives X Series Fixie is awesome. It really is. It has my stamp of approval. I've quickly fallen in love with this little utility blade. My conclusions, I guess, would be it's a great fixed blade. It's going to be for guys who don't have to do heavy cutting tasks. This would be a great farm hand blade. I mean, if you think about a guy carrying a slip joint for work all day, I mean, it's not too dissimilar from it. You may be losing a little bit of cutting edge, but it would be great for a work hand or a farm hand or whatever to cut small things here or there. This would work for somebody who does work in an office setting, and who also wants to carry a fixed blade, but doesn't want to carry a 3-inch blade. This is sub 3-inch. It's probably sub 2-inch. I hadn't really checked on that one. So it could be really non-assuming. If you get it in the stock configuration with the skeletonized knife and the leather sheath, it could be really good. It could be very unassuming. Maybe tie a little bit of leather to it to make yourself a lanyard, and it'll go in and out of pocket very well. So it's not super fair for me to compare this Peña Knives X Series to stock Peña Knives X Series because of the handle material that is put on this one, but still, it's a great knife. It's so beautiful. I love it tremendously. I'm trying to think of what else there is to be said. The jimping is very soft, but it's very rare that I'm actually using it in a cutting fashion like this. I feel like this is I don't know, like that. This is good. I'm usually cutting it like this, or like this. Like I'm very seldom like in this position where my thumb is on the jimping. If anything, it's just for like pushing through and slicing, like pushing and then cutting away from yourself, maybe. I hadn't really done too much of that with this knife. And then let's see, what else can I say about it? Nothing much, really. So guys, thank you for watching. God bless you all. I hope you're safe. And if you have any questions about the Peña Knives X Series fixed blade with a sheep's foot style blade, please drop a comment below and let me know what you're carrying today. Thank you. Bye now.